So I started watching the new season of House of Cards, and in it, both the Underwoods utilize the presidential line of succession to get into power. That got me thinking of what is the Indian line of succession. And I realized that we don't have one line of succession, but we have one for the president and another one for the prime ministership. The presidential line of succession is quite constitutionally defined in that sense that if the president is not able to remain in office due to health reasons, or even if he resigns, the presidency will go to the vice president. Now, but the catch here is that the vice president can never really become the president. He or she will remain the acting president. After the parliament elects another president, the vice president has to go back to being the vice president and cannot remain the president. So if you are the vice president of India, there is not really any chance of promotion for you, at least indirectly. So the entire line of succession is quite simple for the president. If the president is not able to do the job, it will be given to the vice president. If the vice president is not able to do it, then it will go down to the Chief Justice of India. And if the Chief Justice is not available, then it will go down again to the senior most judge anywhere in India. Presidency going down to the judiciary is a very good thing because it kind of maintains the neutrality of the presidency. And this has happened a couple of times. In 1969, President Zakir Hussain died, so Vice President V.V. Giri was made the acting president on the same day. But the thing was that just 2 months later, V.V. Giri wanted to run in the actual presidential elections that would take place in the parliament. So he again resigned from the acting presidency and the vice presidency. So the presidency went down to Muhammad Hidayatullah, who was then the Chief Justice, and he became the President of India from 20th of July to 20th of August 1969 for just 1 month. Now 10 years later, in 1979, Muhammad Hidayatullah was the actual elected Vice President under President Zail Singh. But on 6th October of 1982, President Zail Singh had to leave India for the US to go for medical treatment. So from 6th October to 31st of October 1982, Muhammad Hidayatullah again served as our acting president. So he served as our acting president 2 times, but never as our actual president. Muhammad Hidayatullah not becoming our president was more our loss than his loss, because he was an incredibly accomplished scholar and he would have been an amazing president. Now coming to the prime ministerial line of succession, this one is a lot more undefined. You see, there is no official constitutional rule to have a deputy prime minister or anyone to be in charge for the succession. Usually what will happen is that if the prime minister is not able to do his job, then it will go down to the senior most cabinet member. But that is the protocol and not a constitutional rule. The first example of prime ministerial succession is in 1964 after the death of Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. Then the interim prime minister was appointed as Gulzari Lal Nanda, who was the senior most cabinet member. Afterwards, Lal Bahadur Shastri was elected by the parliament as the actual prime minister. Just 2 years later, however, in 1966, Lal Bahadur Shastri also died, which meant that again senior minister Gulzari Lal Nanda was appointed as the interim prime minister until Indira Gandhi was elected by the Parliamentary Congress. Now obviously the fact that it's not a constitutionally defined rule, the prime ministerial line of succession, does make it a little muddy and a little confusing for a lot of people, even people who are on the senior levels of government. A big example of this is after Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's assassination. The gossip goes that Rajiv Gandhi and Pranab Mukherjee were returning to Delhi, and Mr. Gandhi asked Mr. Mukherjee of what would be the procedure now. So Mr. Mukherjee is rightly said to have replied that it would be the senior most cabinet member who would take up the position temporarily until the Congress or the Parliamentary Congress elects a new Prime Minister. But the thing was that Mr. Mukherjee himself was the senior most cabinet member, and Mr. Gandhi apparently thought of this as a power grab by Mr. Mukherjee. And this set off a lot of thought processes amongst the Gandhi family apparently, and that's a topic for a whole other video. And this is actually said to have damaged Mr. Mukherjee a lot, but I guess the damage was quite short-lived because he did become our president afterwards. Now, for any country, the succession line of government is very important. The basic thing that it does is it ensures that there is a continuity of government, that there is someone constantly in charge of the country. And for a country like India, which is also a nuclear power, a line of succession is very important. There are instances like when Manmohan Singh underwent surgery, he did not appoint anyone else as an interim prime minister. So for the time that Mr. Manmohan Singh was not able to do the job, we actually did not have a prime minister. A similar thing is said to have happened when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was also undergoing medical treatment. He also did not appoint any interim prime minister or anyone as a backup. Just as a political move, he did not purposely appoint anyone else in his place. But that is obviously a very risky thing from the country's point of view. From a political point of view, it could be a good thing. But in general, the line of succession ensures that there is a continuity of government, that the country would not ever go into a chaotic, leaderless stage. So leave a comment of what you think of our lines of succession, and if ever necessary, who do you think would be the acting Prime Minister in Prime Minister Modi's stead?